Well, this is it. For more than a year now, I've worked on this video series, and I hope you found it interesting. I hope you found it inspiring, and I hope it clarified a lot of things about how I make my music and a lot of the techniques we used in the 80s to make music from scratch. So let's have a look at how I made my cover art and how I got the song uploaded to the streaming platforms. And here we are inside Photoshop, which I like to use. And to make a thumbnail to work on Spotify, Bandcamp, etc., I like to go into a new project and set the resolution of 3000 pixels for the width and 3000 pixels for the height. But with a width and height of 3000 pixels and a resolution of 150, you should be okay for now. So I press OK, and I get my blank canvas here. And now it's time to pull up the folder with the different pictures, images I've downloaded from Pixabay and Unsplash. And if you check out this image here, this is the one I use for my album Dreams that was released late last year. And this is the image I've actually used for Time, the release of this song from this video series. And I have other pictures here as well, which I have also downloaded, which I think looks nice and interesting for another project later. So what I'll do is I'll take that into the Photoshop project here. I'll just drop it here. And you can immediately see that it doesn't fill out the canvas. So what I'll do is I'll confirm that, and I'll start to stretch it out. And I'm not afraid to really go berserk here in terms of stretching. And it doesn't really matter if you stretch out the resolution here, it will still look nice as a little thumbnail in social media, Bandcamp, Spotify, etc. So don't be afraid to stretch things out. And what I'll usually do at this point is I'll take the text edit tool here and just put my name in. And I have certain things I do all the time, and that is for my name. I always use the font Arial. So let's pull that up, and that's here. So that's one thing. I've changed the font to Arial. And what I also like to do is I like to change the tracking. I'll make some spaces between the letters, and I'll also make it smaller like this. And for my name, I also like to use a italic style, so it's slightly slanted in its orientation, something like this. And when it comes to the title itself, well, this was called Time. And let's turn off the italic on that one, and the tracking will be less than in my name here. Something like this, and I'll definitely change the font here, and I usually like to go for more blocky type of font, like the Futura. And let's make that a lot bigger. Something like this. Time, this is basically my workflow for this kind of thing. I want to have my name even smaller, like this, and the tracking must go up for that to work. Something like this, and time here. So where you choose to place this, you have the rule of thirds, of course, but I like to keep things sort of in the middle here, because when you're going to use this thumbnail later on Facebook or Instagram, etc., you'll often have the social media sites blocking the top and the bottom of your thumbnails. So you'll only see a portion in the middle here. So it's a good thing to have at least the title or the main interest of the picture inside this area here. So that's why I usually put the title of the video, or in this case a thumbnail for the cover art, in the middle of the thumbnail of the square here. So something like this. And what you also can do is add a little bit of you can add a bit of a stroke to make it stand out more. If it was a video thumbnail, I would definitely go for a more severe stroke in terms of size. For this cover art, it's probably a good idea to not go overboard on that one, because it'll look too much like a cartoon. Maybe you could add a little bit of shadow if you want to, if you think it looks better that way. Different kinds of things you can do to make this pop. So I work on this for a while, and I might even now see if it's a benefit of changing the orientation somewhat, maybe something like this. If I want to do that, I have to stretch it out more again. And let's do that. If that's the way to go, I don't know, it's probably better, probably worse. I don't like the orange here popping out, so maybe I'll just slide it to the side and maybe do something like this, so these won't interfere with the time here. This is pretty nice. This can actually look like a moon of sorts. But you see down here, it's have to do something about that. So, well, let's keep it like this for now. The track has been released by the time you see this, and I worked on this for a while to make it look the best I can, or what I think looks great. So when I've done all this, I save the project so I can take this back at another time if I want to work on it some more. But once I'm satisfied here, I usually go to Layer and Flatten Image, and I'll copy this. So I have two instances here, so I could just go back to the original one, so to speak, if I mess up this one. And at this point, I usually go to my filters and the Nick Collection Analog FX Pro 2, where I'll make this look even more vintage, faded in some way. And I usually pull out one of these templates here. This one has a sort of bleached, faded look. I'm not so keen on that one. Let's go for this one, perhaps. Too dark. Let's go up here. Yeah, this one is nice. This is pretty much in line with what I actually went for the final release. And you have basic adjustments here. You have dirt and scratches, which are important to me to make this sound like a faded picture. That's too much, of course. You have different templates for that as well, and you can go into these and tailor them as you want. But let's find something that's not too severe, but still looks kind of scratchy, like this one. So that's dirt and scratches, and I have some vignetting going on. As you can see, the corners are vignetted slightly. I can also make that more or less. So let's go for something like this. And you have the film type. You have different templates here, subtle, warm, cool, etc., etc. But I'm pretty happy with that one here. So this is where I press OK, and you can see it's working on that now. And preparing the image. And let's have it do its thing here. So this is now before, after, before, after. I really like this kind of bleached, washed out look with some dust, etc. And if I wanted to, I could adjust the levels here slightly, make it a little bit more black around the corner here, maybe make it pop a little bit more here. And if I think the colors are too faded now, I can also enhance the saturation slightly if I want to. It all depends on what I want out of the thumbnail. So this is basically my workflow. We're doing thumbnails, and I'll save this, of course, and I might take this down to a JPEG file of a reasonable size, which I'll use on places like Bandcamp and Spotify, etc. And we'll check this out once we go into DistroKid, where I'll upload this release to show you how I do that. So let's head over into the internet and try uploading this release with the thumbnail, the cover art, and everything. Now, this is not a sales pitch for using DistroKid as your aggregator, but I've used DistroKid for many years and I'm very happy with their services. If you check out the video description to this video, you'll find a link there. So if you want to sign up on DistroKid, you can use that link and it'll get you some percentages off for the first year. But anyways, I think most aggregators work in the same ways as I'm about to show you. And this is how I choose to do my uploads to the streaming platforms. So here you can see all my releases so far. And all I have to do now is go to upload music. And I'll start filling in the necessary information for this release. And the first thing is what services I want to use for putting my music out to. And in the past, I've chosen every one of them, but now I don't do that anymore. I'm just using a couple of platforms to release my music. And I'll basically turn off everything now. And why, you might ask? Well, I simply just don't want my music scattered on every other platform out there. I just want my music on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, etc. and Tidal. So I'll uncheck everything else these days and just have a few platforms where I release my music. You might say I'm foolish, maybe, but I can live with that. In this case, I only have one song, a single to release. If I wanted to release an instrumental version, etc., I'll just pick out how many songs I want to put out for this type of release. Has this been previously released? Usually that is no. The artist band name, Espen Kraft, that's me. Artist already in Spotify, some information here that I exist in the platforms from before. Artist already in YouTube Music, that's me. I have or DistroKid sets one up for you, a artist band page on YouTube Music, which they will take care of for you. The release date, you set this date somewhere in the future. I don't think you can set a date earlier than, let's say, a week from where you start doing what I'm doing right now, because it'll take some days to get the release out to the streaming platforms. So I don't think you can set the exact same day and have it on Spotify, Apple Music in the same day. I'm not sure exactly how fast they can make it happen, but I usually set the release a month or so ahead in time. That's worked out well for me. The record label, well, I have my own record label called Resolute Records, so I put that in here. So it doesn't say, once it's out on the platform, it doesn't say DK and a number, which is the default record label information out on Spotify, Apple Music, etc. I want to have it say Resolute Records as the record label, so that's why I put this in here. And here I'll put in that cover art. So let's find that. And that's here. And as you can see, different from what I just showed you in Photoshop. I put the title down here when it comes to the Spotify release, because on Spotify you can see the whole picture, the cover art picture, when you browse through the pages. So I think this is the best option here, instead of in the middle here if I was to promote this on the social media, this cover art image. So I make different versions when I'm in Photoshop, where I put the title at different places on the cover art itself. And this is in English, and here's where I think DistroKid is not so good, because it doesn't have all the different genres within electronic music as some would want. But this is a electronic release, but it's more so a pop release. So I choose pop, and as a secondary genre, I usually go for electronic. And you can do further subgenres as well down here if you want to. Track 1, song title, in this case it's Time, and here is where you can put in instrumental, etc. if you have to do that or want to do that. So that's that. Audio file, let's find that, and here's my audio file. I have MP3s and I have waves, of course, wave files. So I'll choose the wave file and open on that. If you have an international standard recording code, you can put that in here. I'm not going into details about what that is now. So let's leave that blank for now. You have a Dolby Atmos, spatial audio information you can put in if you have a version with that. Now, when it comes to the songwriter, well, I wrote this song, both the melody, music, and lyrics. But if this is a cover song, it's important that you check this and fill out the relevant information here. So that can be somewhat of a chore. In this case, I don't have to worry about that. So in this case, I have music and lyrics, and I can just put in my name here. Explicit lyrics, I never have that, so that is no, of course. Is it a radio edit? It's a clean edit, so no need to change that either. Is it an instrumental? No, this contains lyrics. And here I can set the preview clip start time. So if you want the previews of the song to be where the chorus starts, etc., you have to fill in the minutes and seconds here. This is very important, and I think a lot of people miss this. If you put this on, let the streaming service decide, then you're in the mercy of Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, etc. to choose where they want the preview clip of your song to start. So I always specify exactly where in the song I want the preview to start for people browsing through on the streaming platforms. And here you can set the iTunes price, etc. And here are some extras. And I usually don't go for any of this. Discovery pack, no need. Beatport, maybe if you're on Beatport, that's important to you. YouTube Content ID and YouTube Creator Music, I don't care about that at all. Store Maximizer, what's the point? Social phone numbers, well, that only applies to the US, I guess. It means nothing to me here in Europe. Loudness normalization, please don't check that. It'll definitely ruin your dynamics if you're interested in dynamics. If you're just uploading something that is looking like a square wave, then I guess this doesn't matter. But to me, melody and dynamics are very important. So never let the platforms themselves do any kind of creative shenanigans to your music. Same for title, master, MQA. Is that important to you to have some sort of AI ruining your music? By all means, check this. Leave a legacy. If I die, DistroKid will never delete this single. I have to pay $29 for that per song. I couldn't care less what happens after I'm dead when I'm dead. Well, remember McCoglin's law? Bury the dead. They stink up the lot. So never mind that. And you have to check these boxes here. Otherwise, you won't be able to upload your music at all on DistroKid, so I have to do that. And when those boxes are checked, I press done, which I'm not going to do here because I've already uploaded the song Time on the streaming platforms. It's already out there. But once I press done, it will upload the audio file. It'll upload the cover art. If DistroKid finds no errors, it will be delivered, sent out to the streaming platforms, which will process it and make your release public at the date you specified earlier. So that's all there is to it. In the beginning of the song, I use a little bit of the Casio FZ10M sampler, especially for that twang electric guitar. If you use it within a limited range, it can sound quite convincing, actually. I also use the Casio FZ10M for that choir sound. Which you also can hear in the beginning and a little bit in the second verse and pre-chorus as well, as building up to the chorus. I've always liked this particular patch from the Casio samplers. I also use the Kawai K3M in this song, in the chorus. The end of the chorus. I made a couple of these patches for this song, and it's part of my patch bank for the K3M as well. So let's check out how I used it in the song here. This is the end of the choruses, and I'm using a automatic panner here from the Eventide H3000 plugin to spread the sound in the stereo field as it plays, with some delay as well. Let's check it out. Signs of life, one sound, the siren calling. I'll be there. I think it worked out nice. And another sound I used from the K3M is this lush L piano sound. Again, let's check out how I used it in the actual arrangement. Very lush, but also very dense in the bottom end, so it has to be high-passed, as almost all sounds in the arrangement has to be, so they won't take up too much space. So let's try a little with or without high-passing. It doesn't matter how lush a sound sounds in isolation, you have to high pass a lot to be able to have an arrangement that doesn't sound mushy. The Roland SP750 was also used. The in-the-box mix and out-of-the-box mix sounds different in the bridge section, and this is because of this synth, or sample player. Again, this also has to be high-passed a lot to not interfere with other things. And here's the Prophet VS, I used that in the last choruses. It's no secret that the VS is one of my favorite synths of all time, and I found use for it in other places as well. I really like this sound. So I tried to find a place for that sound in both the verses and the choruses and everywhere else really. So let's check out how I used it in the song.
We didn't make it through. I wonder why. Can I have one more go? One call, the sound of lying, signs of lying. One sound, the siren calling. I'll be there.
I will continue to do live streams about this and that and Q&A sessions, so feel free to join in on that if you have questions you want to ask me about this video series or other stuff. Also a big thanks to the sponsors of this video: Antelope Audio, Stam Audio, AMS Neve and Golden Age Project. A big thanks to you all. Just as an ethics statement at the end here, it was I who made contact with these companies, asking them for the gear I felt I needed to do this video series. They did not come to me first, asking me to promote their gear. It was the other way around, just saying that. As always, I'm Espen Kraft and I am the 80s. Thank you so much for watching this video series, and I hope to see you in the next one. Have a good one. Cheers.